Howdy folks, and welcome back to Noob BBQ, where I'm learning how to barbecue and bringing you along for the ride. We've got ourselves a very special project today. In fact, this is the whole reason I wanted a smoker in the first place. Today, we're cooking brisket. We've got ourselves a 14-pound USDA prime beef brisket straight from Costco. Now, seeing as this is 14 pounds, it's going to take a long time to cook. And right now it's a little after 7:30, and we are having dinner with friends tomorrow night at 7. So that leaves us just under 24 hours to trim this, cook it, rest it, slice it, and eat it. So the first thing we need to do is trim it up. So let's get to cutting. Now I mentioned about this at Costco, and that's because it's about $50 cheaper than the brisket I was going to buy from the local butcher. Now the local butcher was going to show me how to trim it properly, but I did what you're probably going to do. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos to learn how to trim it, and Brinkley here is going to help us. Now you want to make sure, by the way, there's a lot of blood here, so make sure you wash the scissors, because otherwise that'll spread germs. And don't touch anything that you've been handling the meat with. Again, because that's going to spread germs. Okay, so we're just going to take our knife and start trimming off the fat. Now, according to everything I've seen, you want to leave about a 1/4 inch of fat on the brisket to help protect it during the cook. If you trim too much, then you're likely going to burn up the beef during the cook. If you don't trim enough, then you're going to have too much fat, it won't render out, and the brisket won't taste right. All right, so I took off quite a bit. And in fact, I think if you see here, I took off a little too much in some areas. I don't know what that's going to do in the cook. I guess we'll find out, in 15, 16 hours whenever we end up pulling this thing off the grill. But for now, there's nothing I can do about it. You can't staple it back on. So we're going to see what happens. It's time to apply the rub though, and we are going with the 50-50 pepper and salt mixture. And the barbecue genius that he is, Aaron Franklin, does mention you need to shake this up as you go because the salt settles at the bottom, and he's right. So I'm going to do the best I can to make sure this mixture gets even, and we're going to apply this as best we can. All right, it is 9:30 at night. We've got the smoker up to about 250, which is what I'm hoping to cook this at for the rest of the night. It is on. We're going to cook fat side down today because I think most of the, well, I don't quite frankly know. I'm not sure if most of the heat is coming from here or when it's going to get trapped in the dome or go down. This is the first attempt, so I'm going to try fat side down first. So let's get the dome back on, and let's see how she does. It is a tight fit, by the way. This is a big brisket, and it is a tight fit on this grill. Good morning, it's 10 a.m., which means we've been cooking now for 12.5 hours. So let me tell you what happened overnight. About 2:30 to 3, I came out and the temperature on the brisket was reading 165. I let it go for a half hour, it got up to 170. So on the brisket, it was up to 170. That meant it was time to pull it and wrap it. So that's what I did. I pulled it off the grill, took it inside, smoker, not grill, took it inside, wrapped it in butcher paper, brought it back out. That brought the temperature back down to about 145 internally, and it's taken a long time to get back up to 160, where you see it now, it's 161. The big fight overnight was that it got pretty cold here. It got down to about 40 degrees, and it was hard to maintain the temperature. The fuel burned up a lot faster than I expected it to. I just added a little bit more fuel down there. I don't know if you could see that. But it was hard to maintain the temperature on the smoker. So I ended up having to come out every half hour to check the temperature, add fuel, and try and keep it up. Which wasn't a problem. It actually helped me stay awake because I was up and moving about. The only problem was it woke Brinkley up consistently, and he would want to come out and see what was going on. But apart from that, it's going pretty smoothly. I think we're just about through the stall. Real quick, let me explain the stall for those of you who don't know. A brisket reaches a point where it's contracting and pushing out moisture, and it's going to push out moisture. The internal temperature of the brisket won't rise again until it pushes out all the moisture it can. And that's what's called the stall. The temperature rises, it hits a plateau, and it will stay there for a couple hours. And believe me, it's frustrating because it just sits there and you try to think, what's going on? Am I doing it right? You are. You just have to keep fueling the fire, keep maintaining the temperature as best you can. Eventually you'll break through. I think we're breaking through the stall now. Like I said, it's back up to 161 internally. So we're gonna keep checking it every half hour to keep the temperature maintained. And we're gonna keep cooking, and when it hits 200 to 205, that's when we're gonna pull it. We've already wrapped it in butcher paper. We're gonna wrap it up in towels and let it rest. So that's where we stand. Let's check in later. Okay, so we had guests come over before the brisket was done, so I couldn't show you the final process. But we had it on the smoker a little too long. It hit 195 and it stalled out there for about an hour or two. And I really should have pulled it off at that point. I think it was done at that point. But we got it off, we rested it. It ended up being very delicious. I'm overall very happy with the results. The flat was a little dried out because I think I left it on too long. But the point, we had beautifully rendered fat. It was a delicious brisket. The guests seemed to enjoy it. I think everybody's pretty happy. There were a few things I did learn along the process about, temperature control and when to pull it and everything else. So this was a pretty good experience overall, and we've got leftovers. So I learned a lot, and hopefully I can use those as I try the next brisket and make it even better than what it already was. So be sure and like and follow this video and check out all the other videos as I continue my barbecue education process. Have a good day.